Welcome to On the Hill, a quarterly series dedicated to updating hoteliers of the latest legislative updates in the hospitality industry. We have a jam-packed final episode of 2019 discussing short-term rentals and AH&LA initiatives looking to 2020. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Alan Roleri, publisher of Hotel Business, and I'm here with Chip Rogers, President and CEO of AH&LA. Chip, as always, thanks for being here.
Alan, glad to be with you.
So it seems like you can't turn on the news today without hearing something about short-term rentals. There's a lot going on, right? So what do hoteliers need to know?
So the short-term rental market has expanded dramatically. There's no question about that. And one reason is there's frankly no regulation in most places. And it's changing. I mean, if you go back 5 years ago, what the average consumer would think about short-term rentals is that it's a person who's renting out a room in their home.
Right.
And while that still happens, that is a very insignificant part of the entire short-term rental market. Now it's mainly made up of corporate entities who are buying units and treating it like a business, which is fine. On the hotel side, our only concern is that if you're going to be in the hotel business, you just need to play by the same rules.
Sure.
There will be some who will say, well, this is just the hotel industry worried about competition. And I almost laugh at that, because if you look at what our members do every single day, you can go on any major corner and you can find a Marriott across the street from the Hilton, across from a Hyatt, from an IHG.
Of course.
They're competing every single day. They have no problem with competition. But imagine a scenario where one of those hotels didn't have to pay any taxes, didn't have to construct the building to code and regulation, didn't have to worry about ADA, didn't have to pay the same property taxes. That would put them at an enormous advantage.
Right.
And that's what's happening in many places with short-term rentals. So all we say is, look, competition is great. Welcome to the world of hospitality and lodging, but just play by the same rules.
Yeah, we need an even playing field for
Absolutely,
everybody.
yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about what the AH&LA specifically is doing to address short-term rentals.
So it's really a local issue. When you think about short-term rentals, at its core, the challenge is zoning. Mm-hmm. So if you think about any community, you wouldn't go into, say, a residential community and allow someone to just put up a hotel right in the middle of a neighborhood of residential homes.
Right.
But effectively, that's what's happening. You know, particularly with a lot of these party houses that you hear about on the news, the shootings and just the challenges that the neighborhoods have with these many of these units being turned into party houses. But it's a zoning issue, it's a land use issue. So what we have supported all along is to say, look, let local communities decide what's best for them. In a place like New York City, the rules and regulations are going to be one way as it pertains to creating that level playing field. If you go to a resort town in South Carolina, it's going to be completely different. So there's really no one-size-fits-all rule, but we do know this: the local communities will be able to decide what's best for them, best for their residents and voters, and that's really the way we need to go. Yeah. And the interesting thing is that this question was on the ballot here just a week ago. On Election Day in Jersey City, which is a suburb of New York City, the short-term rental industry put up millions of dollars to overturn a regulation that Jersey City had put in place, and the voters said overwhelmingly no. In fact, 70% of the voters said no, we like the regulations the way they are. So I think when the voters have their chance to have their say, they're speaking very loud and very clear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've discussed a lot of great initiatives in this year's On the Hill series. So looking forward to 2020, how do you plan to keep that momentum going and really building on a lot of the initiatives that we discussed in our series this year?
That's a great question. One thing, we're growing, which is fantastic. Now over 27,000 members.
Wow.
We have a new funding model in place that will actually add more resources to what we can do. So we're going to expand our advocacy to the state and local level like you've never seen before. That is certainly going to happen not just next year, but on into the foreseeable future, because we see a lot of the activity happening in state capitals, not necessarily in Washington, D.C. Mm-hmm. We'll still have the presence in D.C. like we always have, but we're going to grow state and local. When you look at some of the programs and campaigns that we've been working on, the campaign for No Room for Trafficking, which is our effort to stamp out human trafficking across the industry.
By the way, there are cards in our hotel that we're staying at here in the city,
Nice.
talking about human trafficking and who to call and everything like that. So the
It's
initiatives
working.
are working.
Yeah, it's
absolutely,
working.
absolutely.
But we're just at the very beginning of this,
Yeah.
Alan. I mean, it's going to take years and years to do this all across the country. We've already begun targeting states where we're looking at helping pass legislation as it pertains to uniform training across the board. We're going to see a lot of that start in early 2020, but again, there's only so much we can do. So let's say we get to 5 or 6 states in 2020, you've still got 45, 44 more states to go. So that campaign will be ongoing. And then of course, our 5-star promise, it more than doubled. In fact, it went up by 250%, the number of companies that took part in the pledge to make sure that their employees are safe through anti-sexual harassment training, policies, personal safety devices. That is spreading all across the country, and we are certainly hoping to be the catalyst to make sure it's uniform among all hotels.
Really great stuff. Well, we look forward to next year.
Thank you.
As always, thank you so much for all the great information throughout the year in our On the Hill series. And on behalf of Hotel Business, thanks for joining us.